So I'm going to say a couple things on the David DeLotta case. Now, David DeLotta had shot and murdered a man, so there was no dispute over that fact. He shot and killed a man, and that man is no longer alive, Omega McCullogh. So RIP to Omega McCullogh. And even if David DeLotta was justified, you don't want to see people get shot and killed. David DeLotta said that it was self-defense. David DeLotta called 911. David DeLotta gets arrested, goes to the jailhouse in San Luis. And he stayed there for 6 months, and the public pretender took the case. But the public pretender was better and stronger, and he knew the system and the procedure a lot better because John Masters has to go to that courthouse to defend himself against a felony menacing charge. So David DeLotta said it was self-defense, and apparently the new DA, Ann Kelly, believed him. We, the public, don't know. We don't get any of the videos from the cops. We don't get the testimony or the interviews or the videos. We don't get anything. You think the local media around here would actually push for a jury trial every fucking time there's some kind of major case that pops up? When you see a dead body, that's probable cause that a crime may have occurred. Go ahead and arrest the person. And then have a jury trial. So that way 12 people are staring at the case. You need the truth. You need the judgment. You need the 12 jurors. That's America. That's how the U.S. and the Colorado Constitution works. But you think the media would push for a jury trial just in their own self-interest? You have local media. You got La Sierra, Costilla County Free Press, the Alamosa News, and Conejos News. I think that's the same company. They're monopolizing your all's names, SLV Viewpoints or Lifestyles, SLV Lifestyles. And then Cuesta and Towers, they got their newspapers down there. You got Facebooks. But we don't have any broadcast TV. I think there's a radio station, some local. But a jury trial is more fun, more entertaining. There's a lot more moving parts. Yeah, sure. But more importantly, it's the best way. It's an easy way for a reporter to just come into the courtroom, a citizen reporter or a corporate reporter, a careerist, to just come into the courtroom and sit down and sit in the gallery, sit down and take notes, be a good observer. We need good observers. We need the truth. Both reporters, judges, cops, lawyers, clerks. If anybody cares about civilization, if anybody gives a damn about anything, you need the truth. Let's assume we care about victims' rights, and we're going to care about victims' rights by giving a damn about victims' rights, by giving a lot of damns about victims' rights. That's how we're going to correct that, right? We had that debacle with Alonzo Payne not giving a shit about victims' rights. So since we're all into the truth, since the courthouse is into the truth and reporters are into the truth, why not be, transparent as... We all love the truth. Without the truth, what else do we got? The truth is the basis for everything. And the great thing about believing in the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth is that you never have to remember what you said in the past. The truth is rock solid and immovable. JFK got blown away. That's on videotape. His head got blown away. His head got blown up. And he went back and to the left. JFK got blown away. There's no disputing that. There's no your truth and my truth. There's the objective truth. There's what happened, and that's it. So I was kind of disappointed, even though I was leaning towards DeLotta. He's got a kind face. He called 911. Ann Kelly, the new DA, Mrs. Republican, Mrs. Victims' Rights, Mrs. Queen of No, she said yes to letting David DeLotta go free. She couldn't prove anything. She couldn't prove anything or this or that. Didn't want to waste the state's resources. Ann Kelly said specifically that she couldn't prove that it wasn't self-defense beyond a reasonable doubt. You're also going to have to prove to 12 jurors And it's going to have to be a unanimous decision. But that's interesting that Ann Kelly can't prove that it wasn't self-defense beyond a reasonable doubt. We didn't even go to a jury trial. How many times are we going to be? We, the public, demand a jury trial. We want to know the evidence. We want to know the story. There's just some more shootings. You had 2 18-year-olds and 3 17-year-olds that shot and murdered a person. One of the cops got shot up in Alamosa. You got that gang in Monte Vista. You got damn Andre Psycho Barros who's trying to play the damn system and say he's just crazy. So he won't be sitting in jail. He won't go to the hardened gangland. He's going to be sitting comfortable in some mental hospital. He's a serial killer. But the worst of the worst, they bend over backwards to make sure that they are coddled. Meanwhile, if you're a good, lawful, polite American citizen, if you pay for your insurance and you pay for your permits and you don't go around criminalizing and brutalizing people, well, that's the person. I shot 3 warning shots on September 17th, 2021, straight up into the air. Boom, boom, boom. Not like that, it was a shotgun. So, boom, boom, boom. I shot 3 warning shots September 17th, 2021 from behind my house. I bared arms in defense of home, person, and property, just like Article 2, Section 13 allows me to do. I could point to a law in Colorado law and say, that's what I was doing. Mr. KC cannot say that. Mr. KC cannot say that. But it's just incredible. Even if DeLotta was justified, I would have rather David DeLotta shot a few warning shots if that could have prevented another person's death. Even if he was justified, he took reckless endangerment, a misdemeanor. So he's going to walk away, time served. He was already in jail for 6 months. And the public pretender, who was a better lawyer because of me, got the DA to agree to a plea bargain of guilty of a misdemeanor, reckless endangerment. And then she also suggested that it might have been narcotics and said that she wasn't going to give the gun back. And then suggested perhaps the victim or the victim's family, because there was 2 or 3 of the victim's family that was there, might be able to get some kind of justice later on with restitution. So maybe the civil procedures, if the criminal court failed. I mean, it worked for OJ, or the victims of OJ. The victims of OJ didn't get justice through the criminal court, but they did get justice through the civil court. So it's just incredible that there's a dead body. So that's probable cause. That's plenty of reasons to arrest a person, have a jury trial. You care about victims' rights, or then go all the way through the process. Quit doing these stupid plea bargains where you bury all this crap. I'm sick and tired of them having all these conversations behind closed doors. We don't see the videos. We don't know the truth. We don't know the story. We don't know any of it, except for the little bit of information that the newspapers are able to get. And that's nothing. Basically, there's a dead person. They said this was the person, and that's it. That's the whole story. That's not the whole story. So instead of putting David DeLotta in front of 12 jurors and getting them to unanimously agree on one thing or the other, maybe they would have thought it was a misdemeanor, reckless endangerment. Maybe they thought it was self-defense and he should just walk free and clear. Maybe they thought he was guilty. We'll never know. We'll never know. I trust the jury system more than I trust a bunch of authoritarian assholes burying shit in the back rooms. And while they're going to sit there and say that she can't prove that it wasn't self-defense beyond a reasonable doubt, with DeLotta's case, which you have a dead body, so something happened, right? There's probable cause that something happened, and a person is either guilty or not guilty. But she's not going to pursue that. She believes DeLotta believes that she can't get the second-degree murder charge, so she went ahead and agreed to a misdemeanor. He had already served 6 months. The misdemeanor was class 2, so it's like one of the highest misdemeanors, but not the highest. So it was actually like a weaker misdemeanor, but not a petty offense. But it was like 120 days, 160 days. He had already served the time. That the maximum time of the misdemeanor that the DA and the public pretender had agreed to. And so, in some respects, I can understand their argument. The judge is going to say that his hands are tied. Really? His hands are tied. But he's going to say that he's going to try to put a minimum on me, 1 year in jail. But he's going to say that that doesn't give me a preliminary hearing. But they're saying it's not a good use of the state's resources to go forward with a person that shot and killed a man, but a person that shot 3 warning shots straight up into the air. Nobody was in danger. Nobody got hurt. Nobody was injured. Behind my house, in defense of home, person, and property, just like Colorado's Bill of Rights, Article 2, Section 13 says. I was defending myself, absolutely, 100%, without a doubt. I don't go around hurting people. But somehow she's going to say that I wasn't defending myself. And not with just a preponderance of the evidence, but somehow she's going to try to prove that beyond a reasonable doubt. That's a good use of the state's resources, to go to town on an innocent man. To prove an innocent man guilty. That's what the people, the SLV, voted her for. That's not what we voted for her for. Anne Frank did get mad at her mother once, so you'll be able to convict Anne Frank for getting mad at her mother once, but a bunch of fucking Nazis are doing a bunch of Nazi crimes and running around criminalizing people. We're going to say anything about the Nazi criminal gangland that Anne Frank was listening to? Maybe Anne Frank got mad at her mother because they're surrounded by a bunch of criminal fucks, you know? It's like some Americans have no idea what other Americans have to go through. Or maybe they do. And misery loves company, so the miserable try to take everybody else down a peg or two. So you think you're a good person. I lived in Costilla County for 2 years. I'm sure you said at least one single kind word to me. Jordan Peterson says our civilization is breaking down because we don't seem to have a single kind word for each other. Not a single kind word. If you're going to say you're a good person, a Christian, or whatever, then of course you're saying kind words to people. I'm sure of it. I lived in Costilla County for 2 years. What was the kind word you said to me? I see churches over there. They claim to be good. I saw a lot of assholes, a lot of pieces of shit, a lot of jerk motherfuckers. But if you didn't come, across me, okay. But if you came across me and you claim to be a good person, but you didn't say a kind word to Mr. Lawful, Mr. Peaceful Hippie, Mr. Anti-Racist, Anti-Child Abuse, Mr. American, Mr. Love, Peace, and Tranquility, it doesn't say much for you. David DeLotta got released January 25th, 2023. He got released on time served. Walked out of the courtroom. Yes, Your Honor. Okay, Your Honor. Hardly said anything. It'd all been negotiated behind closed doors. And then they just gave a little presentation. They asked Omega's wife to go speak, and it was heartbreaking. She says, "This is not justice." She said it twice. But she was there, and they kind of heard her out. So the judge says that was upholding the VRA, the Victims' Rights Amendment. Doesn't uphold, the Victims' Rights Bill of Rights, 16A, Section 16A, or the statutes. But he thought I didn't think it would help the victims. You want them to go to jury trial. Give it the old college try. What the hell are you doing? I even leaned on DeLotta's side. And I still walked away from that courthouse thinking, you sure you don't want to give him a week in jail? Just a week. Judge, show us how powerful you are. His hands are tied, though. He has to let people that shoot and murder another person go, but a person that shoots 3 warning shots, his hands are tied. He's ethically bound to fuck over the petty offenders, but not the major offenders. He's ethically bound to it. So good for the DeLotta family. It's a success for them. It's a success for the public pretender. Is it a success for justice? I don't know. Like I said, I leaned towards DeLotta. It seemed like, if you're going around just wanting to hurt people, you don't call 911 right after that. So he didn't take off. He didn't run. And I think that says something. He gave himself to the authorities, and he let the machine, let the system do their thing. And he actually might walk away thinking, you know what? The system does work. Which, I guess in some respects for him it did. He said he was guilty of reckless endangerment. It's a misdemeanor. They're going to keep the gun. So since the maximum fine was less than the time he had already served, he was released on January 25th, 2023. So I'm going to talk about this a little bit more in a second.